Florida Congressman and Trump campaign surrogate Byron Donalds. Don't they understand, Congressman, that what they're seeing, what they're touting as economic and cultural and crime successes are actually terrible failures? Chicago has the most murders of any U.S. city, and it's had that title for 12 years now.
It's good to be with you. What J.B. Pritzker and what Democrats are trying to sell as the fruition of Democrat policy is the reason why more Americans are moving to red states. I mean, look, take a step back. Kamala Harris is from California. California is the #1 state in our country that is losing population. Minnesota, where Tim Walz is the governor, #7 state in the country where they're losing population. So why would we put people into the White House who come from states that have been losing Americans? What will that do for the United States of America? It'll be a catastrophe. And we need strong leadership that's focused on securing our citizens, a thriving economy, secure borders, and peace through strength across the globe. That is the recipe for success with Donald Trump when he becomes the 47th president of the United States.
You know, one of the great things about our republic is states, to a certain extent, are little countries where they get to try out certain things, and you can see if they're good or bad, how they turn out, and then maybe you can apply that nationally. Well, in Illinois, which is like the other Democrat states that you mentioned, you have the higher taxes. What has that led to? First of all, the tax in Illinois, you have to spend a premium of 13% in taxes just to live there, to receive all the benefits of the high crime and the bad education rates, et cetera. Unemployment is 6.2% in Chicago. That is the worst of any city in America. I mean, it's extraordinary that the petri dish that the state of Illinois is for the rest of the nation shows clearly that they've got a virus, and the virus is Democrat policies.
100%. It's there. It's Minnesota. Unfortunately, it looks like Michigan is starting to take hold. We know about California. We know about Washington State. Oregon's been really a bad situation, so much so that their mayor of Portland is trying to now reverse course, even though he let so many of these bad policies in. Every single time the Democrats have full control over a city or a state, people suffer. And then Americans who have the ability to leave, where do they go? They go to Florida. They go to Tennessee. They go to Texas. They go to states where they can have an opportunity to thrive and excel. Right. Yeah. That's the kind of policy we need on a national level. To quote Kamala Harris, we can't continue to go back to terrible Democrat policy because it does not work for the American people.
Well, and you in Florida have been the beneficiary of the reverse effect that we're talking about, where people come to Florida, as you say, people go to Texas and other states that are pro-business. It's very simple. The former governor of the state of Texas, who later became our energy secretary, once told me, Rick Perry, that it's not rocket science. He said, you make it easier and cheaper to do business in your state, and you'll get more business. It's very simple. By the way, J.D. Vance was talking today to a group, and he was answering questions from reporters. Here's what he said about Kamala explaining how wonderful things would be under her rule, even though she's already been ruling for 3 years, or at least partial ruler. Roll tape.
She stands there and says on day one, she's going to tackle the housing affordability crisis in our country. On day one, she's going to tackle the grocery affordability crisis in our country, and they are crises. Well, Kamala, day one was 3.5 years ago. You've been the vice president for 3.5 years. What the hell have you been doing for all that time? So for the people in Milwaukee who are going to go to her rally or going to listen to what she says, I just asked them, if she has such good ideas for how to bring down the cost of food and groceries and housing, why doesn't she do it now? She's the vice president. Not talk about what she's going to do in 6 months. Do it now, because she's got the power right now.
Congressman, don't you think voters are asking that question?
They are. Kamala Harris is sitting right there. She's #2 in the White House. Most people actually think Joe Biden's really not even doing the job of president as it stands today. So she could do all this stuff right now, but she is not. Why is that? Because Kamala Harris is not going to make any changes in policy from Joe Biden. She has been riding shotgun on the Biden-Harris agenda. Susan Rice is on the record saying that Kamala Harris was integral in executing the Biden-Harris economic agenda and domestic agenda. She's not going to reverse course, because if you reverse course, you have to step away from this progressive, radical policy, which has been destroying our country. And if she does that, she actually will lose the Democrat base. She'll lose Bernie Sanders. She'll lose AOC, because it won't be going down that progressive line. Yeah. It will go back to common sense policy. So the American people have a clear choice. The person running on common sense policies to secure our nation, to make our nation thrive and succeed going forward, is Donald J. Trump. America, the choice is crystal clear. It's very simple. We can be a significantly better country than we are today. Kamala Harris isn't going to do anything different from Joe Biden.
By the way, last night we heard a lot of praise of Biden, even though he was delegated to relegated, I should say, to a third-tier position in the convention lineup. Right afterwards, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, there was an ex-post put out by former President Obama. It says, "What I admire most about Joe is his decency, his resilience, and his unshakable belief in the promise of our country." I'm sorry, but if you have respect for somebody and you admire somebody, you don't treat them the way President Biden was treated. Then I also want to play for you a little soundbite from President Obama, which just when President Biden was taking over after the election in 2020. I want to roll that tape and then ask a very controversial question of you. Roll it.
People would ask me, knowing what you know now, do you wish like you had a third term? And I used to say, you know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats, looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony. Wow. I'd be fine with that.
Congressman, we only got about 20 seconds, but is that what former President Obama has been doing and wants to continue to do?
I believe so. I mean, look at everybody in the Biden-Harris administration. It's essentially the C team from the Obama administration. And with Kamala Harris, it'll be the same players doing the same thing. And when you put all these different people together, the results have been the same. A weak economy, stagnating wages, and we are falling behind on the world stage. It's time to reverse course. Donald J. Trump needs to be the 47th president of the United States.
Congressman Byron Donalds, great to see you again, Congressman. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.